So we're right here next to the brand new 2015 C-Class, but it looks like an S-Class. Why is that?
Well, it's keeping the same design clues of our new Mercedes-Benz design language. While we think the C-Class still has its very own distinct character, you will see some design clues that you're also already familiar with from the C-Class, from the S-Class. That could be the descending line, which is kind of one of the characteristics of our current design language. But if you look at a car from the front, you'll see definitely its own, very own character compared to an S-Class.
Yeah, I love these headlights that you put on it. I love the LEDs, and I love this eyebrow right there. But that's still a little bit different than some of the other cars. Is there one central kind of headlight theme that Mercedes is going for, or are you doing different ones for different models?
I think you'll see some differences amongst the different car lines with just common patterns. And the eyebrow that you highlighted here, our daytime running light is actually that. Our designers call it the torch design. So that's a very distinct characteristic sign. When you see Mercedes on the street, they're all going to have this.
Let's pop the hood open. Why don't you open the hood and we'll look at what's underneath there. Let's open it up. Look how good I am at that. Now this is the 3-liter twin turbo. Tell me about the engine.
So this is our brand new 3-liter bi-turbo V6 engine in the C400 4MATIC, 329 horsepower and even more amazing 354 pound-foot of torque. So that's probably one of the sportiest C-Classes we've ever had. Engine sounds great. There's a lot of torque available from already 1600 RPM. So some great improvements over the predecessor, the C350. It's a 7-speed automatic transmission, our 7G-tronic. So both the C300 and the C400 will be mated to that automatic transmission standard.
And I noticed that this one's a 4MATIC. I also noticed that you're actually rolling it out in the 4MATIC. Why the new emphasis on all-wheel drive?
We think that with a certain power level that the C400 has, also that's true for other models, 4MATIC really is the way to go. We're trying to position the 4MATIC a little more into a dynamic direction rather than just say this is the car that you need for the winter. You know, when it's snowing, when it's icy outside. But 4MATIC really is an ideal way to get this kind of power to the ground. You have a fixed torque split of 45, 55, so you have a slight bias towards the rear axle, so that still makes for a very dynamic driving experience.
And the other engine choice is a 2-liter, right?
Correct.
4-cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
Also turbocharged.
Also
turbo.
turbocharged. That's one turbo. The C300, a brand new 2-liter 4-cylinder direct injection, 241 horsepower and 273 pound-foot of torque.
And that's a very smooth engine as well. I mean, I've driven both, and it seems like this is obviously the more powerful one, and that's a little bit more smooth, and this is a little bit more rough and ready and fast.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in general, we've put a lot of emphasis on making the car quiet. Whether that's the engine noise, you can tell in general that the interior cabinet is a lot quieter than the predecessor.
Yeah, let's go inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go inside. One of the most outstanding features of this new car is this interior. I mean, it's just really elegant. It seems like you've taken it up a class.
That was the idea behind it. And while we say this is still a C-Class, we didn't want to build a vehicle that, we don't want to build a new E or the new S-Class, but it's taking all the characteristics from an S-Class when it comes to design, when it comes to quality, fit and finish, and apply them to a C-Class. So yeah, it's a different world, and we think this is something that our customers are really looking for.
Now, there's two new features here, right? There's this new touchpad, which is sort of like iPhone smart interface, right? It actually controls this screen up here. And then there's this button. Tell me about both of them.
Yeah, so the new touchpad you mentioned, it's going to be a standard feature on every C-Class in the United States. It's a very intuitive way to control all the infotainment functions of your head unit. Basically, just like your smartphone, you can zoom, you can scroll, you can pinch, you can swipe left and right. So it's a very intuitive way of controlling the many functions of our most modern infotainment system. One of the coolest features is a handwriting function to enter navigation destinations. So it recognizes your input, just writing letters on it. That does not only work in English, it also works in Japanese and Chinese. So that's a really cool advancement.
I'm Czech. Does it work in Czech?
It works in Czech.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But I noticed you still kept the old command knob.
Yeah. There's overall, I mean, you'll find probably 4 ways in this car to do certain inputs. It's a controller, it's the touchpad, it's the voice control, and then it's the buttons on the steering wheel. So explicitly, we want the customers to have different alternatives for different situations, different driving situations, or different inputs. So there's a certain level of redundancy. It also makes the transition from the controller to the touchpad a lot easier, as our customers have gotten used to the controller. It's nice when you have the choice between the two.
Yeah, you're hedging your bet a little bit, right? In case people like this, you want to keep it for them.
Absolutely.
It makes it a bit more expensive, though, when you have to have 2 interfaces like that.
Correct, but unfortunately, that's a problem that our customers don't have to worry about.
Now, tell me about this button right here, the one that says Agility. What does that do?
Our new Agility Select Switch. So what we've done is we've bundled all driving characteristics of the car, all the different parameters into one single switch, whether that's how the steering feels, transmission control, suspension control in this case, because this is a car that's equipped with the Amatic air suspension, throttle response. All of that is being controlled with one single switch. We have 5 different driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and then there's an individual setting that makes you that lets you individualize the exact way you like the different parameters to be.
So you can have like sharp steering and softer suspension.
Correct. And what this does is it really changes the character of the vehicle. Between a comfort setting and a Sport Plus setting, it really is a different car. So it's amazing what this switch can do, and all the controls behind it for completely different and distinct driving characters within one vehicle.
Yeah, the one thing I wish it did, and it seems to be something that no manufacturer, at least almost no manufacturer, is doing, is actually increase the horsepower. Right? That's what you want, right? When you switch that to Sport, you want 50 more horsepower.
Yeah, but it's probably something you always want. The 50 horsepower, you can never have enough power. That's absolutely correct.
So tell me, when does this go on sale?
So the C300 4MATIC and the C400 4MATIC will go on sale on August 25th this year. And then we'll launch the 2-wheel drive version of the C300 in the first quarter of next year. And then there's a bunch of other engine variants that we're working on. A plug-in hybrid we've already announced in Detroit. There will be a BlueTech version of this car as well, finally, in the United States.
And how about the AMG? That's what people
and
know
obviously, for everyone with fuel in their blood, we'll need a 63 AMG. That'll come as well with the a new V8 that we are just in the process of communicating. So we will keep the V8 engine in the C-Class.
One of the things I noticed immediately is that this is a bigger car, a lot more room in here.
Correct. Now, the exterior dimension grows just about 4 inches all in all, and most of that additional length actually gives credit to the rear passengers. So the rear seat legroom improves by almost 2 inches. At the same time, though, by using lots of lightweight materials, extensive use of aluminum, the car, in this case the C300 4MATIC, is up to 200 pounds lighter than its predecessor.
Yeah, that's, I think, a big news. I mean, basically every single panel on the outside is aluminum, almost every panel.
Correct, yeah, except for the rear fender, I think, which is steel. And we're not just doing that to reduce weight. Obviously, a reduction in weight gives you better performance, gives you better handling, especially with that new falling front suspension. And increases fuel economy. So it really is
it's like dumping you and probably another 25 pounds out of this car, right?
Exactly. And if you've ever lost 25 pounds, you know what it feels like. So you can feel it right away when you start driving this car. It's a very different handling behavior than its predecessor.
So it's bigger and yet it's lighter. That's
Correct.
not easy to pull off.
Not easy to pull off, and as my boss always says, he wish he could do that from generation to generation, get bigger, more handsome, and at the same time lose weight.
All right, so here's the softball question. What's your favorite part of the car?
I love the interior. It's, for me, every time I get into this car and I drive it, that for me is the most amazing part, especially in this configuration as we see it right here with our black ash. We call it the open pore black ash. So it's you can see the grain, you can feel the grain. So it's a wood trim that really provides some warmth and some comfort in the car, but at the same time is very sporty. So we're proud of that.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.